So what if I give you? I would just do it. So.
This should work. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Should we start the polling? All right, everyone, we're going to get started. And so my name's Alyssa, if you have not met me. So you're going to be working with me in your last year, whether you like it or not. So I am the advisor for graduation. So I will be helping you all out. The application for spring 24 graduation, if you're graduating in spring, we proposed to open today, but I noticed my friend who does graduation was on vacation today. So it should open in the next few days. And when it does, I'll send you an email. So the idea behind that is I will double check to make sure that you know what you're supposed to do the last 2 semesters over the summer so that we'll make sure you're in the correct classes for autumn to graduate spring, because I don't like any surprises and you won't either, right? We want to make sure everyone is truly graduating in the spring that is graduating. So I work on those applications all summer. Because there's about 150 to 170 of them, I do a little bit each day over the summer, so it makes it able to be done. Definitely. So what is going on here today is we're going to talk to you about your 2 capstone options within our ECE department. So we have our ECE version of Capstone, or we have a college version of Capstone, which Bob Rhodes over here is going to talk about in just a few minutes. Either option is perfectly fine. So kind of just a review of the ECE options. We've got ECE 3905, and if you do need that class, we are trying to work out a time conflict issue with the instructor. So bear with us, it's going to get on the schedule. 3905 is for those students who already have their technical writing complete. You already took 3090. That is 3905, okay? 3906 is for those of you that did not complete your technical writing yet. You would do the 3906. It has it embedded in. That's why it's a 4-hour class. It's the capstone plus 3090. So we tried to reorganize that a little bit for you all because of your feedback. So hopefully you're liking 3906 or you're hearing good things from your friends. If you end up taking the multidisciplinary capstone and you need technical writing, how are you going to get that? Don't worry, we figured that problem out too. We've got an asynchronous version of 3090 that I will add to your schedule. So if you need 3905, I'm probably going to add that for you. If you need 5901, Bob sends me a list of all of the students that want to go into 5901. I go through all your degree audits just because I don't know. I just like to make sure everything looks good. And then if you need 3090, I'll add you into that class as well and let you know when I enroll you. So you will sign up through Bob's Qualtrics link if you want the multidisciplinary capstone. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Bob to get started explaining the multidisciplinary capstone.
All right, thanks. Thanks for coming this evening. I'm Bob Rhodes. I'm the director of the multidisciplinary capstone program. Some of you I've seen, you went to our coffee and donuts little soiree before spring break to hear about the program, but I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. As Alyssa mentioned, it is ENGR. It's an engineering course. It's not an ECE course. My Department of Engineering Education offers this as an option for students to take instead of their respective capstone course. So it is an ENGR course. It is a 2-semester sequence, very similar to ECE's. Starts in the autumn and continues through spring. The project that we have, the project that we get from industry, and I'll talk about that a little more, we have it starting about the 2nd week of autumn and it continues through all of spring semester. It is a 3-credit-hour course. Alyssa already explained that if you do take this sequence, what happens with 3090 with that. So a multidisciplinary capstone, we do a define, design, build, and validate type of process. It is for senior undergraduate engineering students from multiple disciplines. So you would be working on teams of anywhere from 4 to 7 students from different engineering disciplines. Not only do we offer this for the engineering students, seniors, we also have an engineering science minor program for non-engineering students that take our fundamentals of engineering course sequence their first year, like all you have. They take a couple other introductory engineering courses, and then they finish it off by working with a team within our multidisciplinary capstone. Those students come from across the university. I've had business, I've had neuroscience, I've had plant pathology, I've had sociology, psychology, theater, film studies. I didn't realize Ohio State offered this many degrees across the university, but I've had over 60 different degrees from across the university in that program. This is industry driven. All of my projects have an external sponsor. We go through a design process, probably very similar to what you would do in ECE. Define the problem, develop needs or specifications, concepts, create detailed design, build a prototype, a model or simulation, whatever that project is, and then validate it, and then refine. As I mentioned, all of my projects are industry sponsored. We've had a variety of different projects. These are just some photos of past projects that my students have worked on. We get equipment improvement from a manufacturing environment. We've had system or process improvement as well. We've had product development. We've had applied research, modeling or simulation, or software application development. As you can see, or what my message is here is, no two teams are working on the same project, and there is such a breadth of projects that we try to be flexible when it comes to objectives and assignments that are needed for or information that's needed from the sponsor, from the team. Okay, so student benefits. With this program, this is what we talk about with industry sponsors, as well as what you benefit from taking a course like this. Develop professional skills that add value to industry. Industry loves these types of projects and getting involved with students, whether it be just ECE or multidisciplinary. They really love to mentor you as well as give you a real world project to work on. Our program works with an industry contact for each project, usually through weekly meetings. And then the team gives presentations to that contact or a larger group from that organization. We do get students out to the sponsor facilities as needed. A lot of our sponsors are local around Columbus or within Ohio, so that makes that very much possible. As I mentioned, it's multidisciplinary. You can see this is a pie chart that over the past few years since this program has been offered, you can see that there's a bigger piece of the pie of mechanical engineering students, but I see that over time this has balanced out where I get students from a lot of different disciplines. Therefore, the projects are multidisciplinary by nature. Non-engineering students, I already talked about the engineering science minor program and where they come from. Typical student deliverables, regular project status updates, oral presentations, written reports. The one thing that I'll say about both of those, you give your first oral presentation to the class, the rest of them are given to the sponsor, okay? You get a lot of feedback from the sponsor, you get a lot of sponsor or mentorship. We also get a OSU faculty advisor. That could be a person from my instructional team, or it could be somebody that is across in the college or in another department that's close to that project topic. We do a lot of prototyping, modeling, and simulation, as I mentioned. This is very hands-on as much as we can be. The other thing that I'll say about the projects themselves is that you really get involved, okay? This is about as real world experience you can get in an academic setting. That's true for any kind of industry sponsored capstone project. The goal here is to prepare you to take that next step in your profession after you graduate. Why does industry like to get involved? They want to have contributions to real world projects. They mentor students, so they support the project. We get funding from sponsors as well. So any kind of materials and supplies the team may need over the 2 semesters, we have funding to support that. What do they get out of it? They like, as I already mentioned, like to work with students. They like to work with potential employees because we've had some sponsors hire students at the end of spring semester. They love to interact or acquire new ideas for their projects that they've already been working on or haven't had time to work on over the years. Here's some representative sponsors that we've had in the past. As you can see, I've had larger companies. Honda's a big supporter. I usually have at least two to three Honda sponsored projects from across either manufacturing or in their R&D area. Smaller companies like Snowville Creamery, and we've also had individual entrepreneurs wanting to do some product development as well. I'm going to quickly run through a couple of these example projects that we've had in the past. This project was sponsored by Honda. It was entitled Biometrics Monitoring and Occupant Wellbeing. Basically, Honda's goal with this project was to create something that reduces anxiety in drivers as they drive down the road. You can imagine a lot of distractions that happen. If you've driven in Columbus on a busy day, you can get distracted by not just how you're driving, but how other people are driving. So reducing that stress, reducing that anxiety will help become better and safer drivers. So the first thing that this team had to do was come up with how do you monitor the biometrics of a person and understand when their stress level or when they have higher anxiety. So they created sensors, a map of sensors. They've actually also developed ways to reduce that anxiety, lighting, perfumes or like lavender that help reduce anxiety. And this team actually took their solution and tried it in the driving simulation here on campus. Majors that were on this team, obviously ECs, biomedical, material science, computer science, mechanical, neuroscience, and information systems. You can imagine how, if it was just ECEs, one disciplinary on this team, it would be very difficult, right? Because you'd have all these other aspects of a project that you would have to meet. So hence the multidisciplinary nature of this project. Another project that we had from Honda, different division, automated visual inspection of engine parts. An engine block has imperfections or porosity in it. Therefore, that is not good for an engine block to have. So they wanted to develop an automated inspection system to identify those porosities or those small porous holes. This team not only created the vision system, but initially started the machine learning to identify the size of the porosity, as well as identifying it as okay or not okay. This team, as you can see on the right side, that middle photo, that's their setup that they had. This team also was comprised of electrical, mechanical, industrial systems, finance, and operations management. The last project that I'm going to talk about real quick is an Air Force Research Lab project, defect detection within aircraft parts. The objective of this project, which was actually a multi-year project, develop a system to identify defects in aircraft rotor blades using autonomous 6-axis robotic system. This team had to not only identify the vision system, but how it interconnects and assembles to a robotic arm. So there was programming involved, there was vision systems involved, and then there was the mechanical part of how the camera system would attach to the robotic arm. This project consisted of electrical, mechanical, engineering, physics, accounting, finance, and public policy. So those are just some examples of just a few of the projects. If you haven't, please grab a flyer before you leave. If you want to take this course, there is a Qualtrics survey that is very simple to fill out. Basically, all you need to do is identify your major and why you want to take this course. I'd accept everybody who fills out that survey. I don't think I've denied anybody, but what that does is that helps identify for the future when we go to form teams. That's another thing that usually students want to know. How do I form teams? So over the summer, I don't have the projects defined yet. Over the summer, I work with a lot of sponsors to scope out the projects very roughly. Between the sponsor and myself, we identify the skill sets that are needed on that project. I translate that skill set to what majors are needed. So I know what majors are needed on each of the projects before autumn semester starts. I present all the projects to all the students. I ask you to identify which project you want to work on that need your major. Then I will probably, before the semester starts, ask you to send me your resume. I will look at your interest, project needs, and even your resume to match up the best I can, skill sets and project needs. So far, I haven't had, out of the 13 years that I've been doing this, I've had just like a few students that have not been happy. I'd say that's a pretty good batting average when I'm talking over 150 projects over the last 13 years and probably pretty close to 1,000 students. So I'll take that batting average. If anybody's a baseball fan, it's coming up. So, do I ask for questions?
Sure.
Anybody have any questions? Once you fill out that survey, I'll work with Alyssa to get you registered for the course. And you cannot register for the course on your own because it is permission of instructor. It does meet Tuesday, Thursdays, 9:35 to 10:55. I've already had some of your colleagues already contact me and fill out the survey. So once that gets populated over the next week, I'll work with Alyssa and get you registered probably before, try to get it before mid-April. Any questions? They're all eating pizza. They're all.
We made them all tired with all the cards. Yeah.
All right, that's all I got.
Go. Yeah, thank you. If you all don't have a resume put together, April 5th from 2 to 4, we're gonna have a career service person in 205 jury. So I just got that right before I came over. So I will send that out to you. So this is a good opportunity that if you don't have a resume or no one's ever looked at it, I'm bringing them right here in-house. So you definitely stop by, but I'll give you guys more information on that when I have it.
What, ma'am?
It's Wednesday, April, I think 5th from 2 to 4.
And where?
It'll be in our main office, 205 Drees. I'm gonna put them in one of our cubicles. Which means I can hear everything they're saying to you. If they say anything wrong, I will come out and be like, what? No, it's a student, it's a peer student. but I'm curious what they're gonna talk about too, so I'll be eavesdropping on those conversations. Just because I'm always wanting to learn more about resumes, so I'm curious. Yeah.
All right, so hello, everyone. For those of you that you know me, Dr. Z, those of you that they don't get to take 3090 anymore. It's like I'm not teaching it anymore. So there will be a lot of you that you don't know me, but my fame precedes me. So I'm sure you would know what you're getting into before you met me. So I am the Capstone program coordinator in our department. I also teach Capstone fall, spring sequence, which takes about 100 to 120 students. We have 3 cohorts, so you will be groups of 40. We have a spring fall cohort as well. This is smaller for those of you that want to graduate in December. We have that opportunity for you as well. So Bob actually went through everything. We kind of do the same thing. So if you decided not to go to multidisciplinary, I suggest go take that if that's something that interests you, because not only you work with like-minded people, ECE, you work with others and you learn how to communicate with them, which could be non-engineers as well. And that's real world. Now bring the real world a notch down in engineering, and then a notch down electrical engineering, computer engineering. That would be us. So your next option, if you don't go with them, you have to go through us. So my information, if you wanted to contact me, 664, and my email, please don't send email to at buckeyemail.com. I don't have it, I don't get it. So we talked about it, but just one more time. If you have taken 3090, you will take 3905. This is backward, 3905, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I wrote all of them wrong. So
Okay.
check your slides before you present. You take that for Capstone 1, Capstone 2 would be 4905. If you haven't taken 3090, you will take 3906, right? That's the only difference. Your Capstone 2 will be 4905. I think after a year or two, we only will have this sequence going. All right. One important notice about taking your Capstone and scheduling your program. It doesn't matter which one you go, you will have to take the same time frame. Like if you take 9:35 in the morning, Capstone 1, that's going to be your Capstone 2 as well. So choose wisely. You're planning for the whole year because this is a yearly project. All right. So just wanted to mention that. So what is Capstone? Think of a unique opportunity, a new project, something that encompasses most of the skills that you learn in your program or didn't. And you have to bring an idea from your head onto the paper, prototype it, make it work. Make it work is really important in Capstone too, because then it will allow you to think of what could happen for my system not to work. Then as engineers, you have to think about those and put that in your instruction manual and all that good stuff. All right. So we will go through system design. You will get to do your schematics depending on what your project is. You might need a PCB. If you don't know what the PCB is, you haven't done it. Don't worry about it. We got you covered. Then you will have test plan. So you will have test season, testing and validating what you built. And at the end, you will have a prototype, ugly, but it works. You will have an interface for your user that will look pretty because users should be able to use it. So this is pretty open-ended, right? I didn't define what the project is. So Capstone, the main difference, either way you go, it's very different from every other course you took in the last 4 years. So I came here to just prepare you for that. So I don't want a shocked student like, oh my God, I have to work 6 hours outside the classroom. Yes, you do. It's like a standard 3-period hour, but you don't have homeworks per se like your other courses. You have to know what is next, or you need to know what kind of question I need to ask to understand what's the next step. Does that make sense? So you're really the project manager and project engineer and the test engineer. Now, most of my Capstone projects, the last semester and this semester had sponsors. So similar to multidisciplinary Capstone, but there will be some student-defined projects. So you can define your own project, right? Because, so unlike Bob, I need 24 projects per year, and it's very difficult to find 24 in the company, like to guarantee that I'm gonna have. So we're gonna leave some of you to define your own projects. It could be sponsored by one of the student organization. So we have one from rowing club, we have one from underwater robotic club. I think we have one from, or will be from the motorcycle, what is the club name?
Correct.
Yeah, correct. All right, so, oh, we have one from AQ, which is the Braille, improving the Braille display they have. So if you're part of this club, there is a project, great, come and suggest it, and then we'll make it a project. But since you don't have a sponsor, we need to define what the problem is. And then my hope is that I'm working toward it, that I can find a customer for you. So a faculty, a PhD student, a postdoc, someone from the industry that is willing to spend some time mentoring to be your customer, to play that role for you. Because I'm your instructor. So when I tell you like, how about this? Next thing I see, they do that in their project. I'm like, this was an idea, but you said it. I'm like, yeah, idea, but I'm also the instructor. So it's very different to which one of your words we need to take serious and which one is suggestions, right? So I'm hoping to bring those who give you a better or extra mentorship on that. So I want you really, when you take Capstone, whenever it's your turn to take Capstone, think of it, this is going to be open-ended. I might know a lot about it. I might not know anything about the project. It just sounded very interesting. It's something I want to add to my resume. All right, so prepare yourself to learn. So learning doesn't end before Capstone, and Capstone is like, oh, do 1 year. I'm gonna have fun with my fellow classmates and we're gonna be done now. Actually, you're gonna test yourself. Did I learn everything? Spoiler alert, no, you didn't. But there's a chance 1 year to actually use your experience, like your expertise, and build things and fail. And it's great because you know one thing that doesn't give you the solution you want. So in Capstone, you can fail all the time, but we say that fail early so you can be successful as you go. So you'll have a final product. We have undergraduate and graduate mentors. So I hire them, pay them hourly to help you on things that you don't know. Let's say you took circuits, you really want to design a circuit, that's gonna be your job, but you never had a chance to work with one of the softwares. So we have a team that they can be your mentor. You can learn, you can design one PCB or a circuit, build it, and then say, oh, I really like this. This is gonna be my career. And then you can continue, or machine learning, computer vision. So I try to hire from different disciplines because I'm a robotic control person. So ask me something about semiconductor. I'm like, I have no idea. Jonah, what do you think? Or Eric, my graduate student, what do you think? Because I can't know everything, right? Yes, that Jonah. So expectation, professional teamwork, communication, willing to improve, willing to learn. We are going to document everything in the process. Same flow chart that Bob showed you. I have the same one. I kind of copied it from you because when it is not broken, don't fix it. So it worked. I'm using it. For your Capstone 2, the part that you're prototyping and testing, you will define and design experiments that quantifiable. So you can test and validate your design and you will have a working prototype. So coming into Capstone, think about, I have a problem that I'm gonna build something that thing is gonna work, and then we're gonna check if that thing solved the problem that we started with. That's engineering, that's real life. Sometimes this thing doesn't work, but you know why. After a year, it's like, there's 5 things I tried, didn't work. I learned a ton. That's acceptable. You might even get an A doing that, but you have to justify, all right? So because the reason I'm saying all of this, because when I get a student in Capstone and I hear from them what they expected Capstone to be, it's very different from what they do. And, you know, expectation doesn't meet the reality and everyone is upset because my expectation also doesn't meet the reality. Because I thought, oh, last 4 years, what did you learn, right? So we're trying to come close and marry these two so everyone is happy. If you have a sponsored project, you're gonna have Capstone agreement, you will sign. And you will have the same first presentation with class, after that, just a sponsor. So you get direct feedback. I will also be in that presentation and you will actually present in this room. So get familiar with this. We will run you through this. Most of my project has has to go through this, and Bob is the director of also all of your project will go through a multidisciplinary capstone. Now, a couple of logistics about the first sequence, 3905. There will be 3 class time per week. You have to attend the class meetings. So the ones that are capstone lectures will teach you about engineering process, project management, customer discovery. You start prototyping very lightly, play with the sensors and whatnot. There will be one class that's your technical writing. You have to go to them because they're gonna tell you, like, if you didn't take 3090, right? Like, hey, this is our standard. Then you get to write your capstone report during that class. So that's helping you to basically do all the writing assignment of capstone. So when you come to capstone meetings, it's just work. Does that make sense? So that's why we combine them together. So since you had to write the report, well, let's the technical writing help you to write your capstone report. Then most of your meetings will be in the classroom again, but if you are at the prototyping stage, I'll let you use the lab. So you don't have to come to class anymore, you go directly to the lab. But that's on cases based on the progress of that project. Now, if you are in 3905, I wrote it correctly this time, you don't have technical writing because you already passed it. So you meet only 2 times. That's the main difference. Everything else the same, lesson plans are all the same. The second one, which is capstone 2, you meet in the lab. So that's really like, we give you a corner that is a desk, you have your equipment, that's your office space. Imagine you're a firm and you rented an office space, you do all of your work there, you manage your time, you have your own lead. I'm not gonna go and micromanage you, but since I'm your supervisor, I'll go and ask, what's the progress? What about that test? What about this test? So it'll be conversations, right? So kind of giving you the independence of engineers, but we're still watching you, but a bit more hands off. Yeah, I'm always watching. As a team, you will meet once a week outside of classroom just to check things, to come prepared to the class. If you have a sponsor, you will meet them bi-weekly or whatever you agreed with them. I prefer bi-weekly. And then you'll meet with me whenever you think it's needed. So you want to brainstorm, you have a question, send me an email, set up a meeting. You will meet in my office or in the lab. When I walk around in Capstone 2, I'll be in the lab most of the time, but I take rounds. So I might just talk to 2 teams in a day. So I don't necessarily talk to all of you. So from this, the first thing that you should think is like, oh my God, we are very independent. This is scary. We've never done this because they always give us a list of do these steps, checklist, homework, assignment, exam, submit. None of them. It's like really free. There are some assignments that you have to submit your progress, and no 2 teams are the same. So their progress always varies, but we are giving you the opportunity to manage and learn. So this is learning process. I can't emphasize how much the learning process of project management in Capstone is important, because all of you are great on theory. I've never had a student that didn't know what to do about the technical aspects, but the communication between teams caused the progress to not move very quickly or as they planned. All right. So this was Capstone. Now, what we did is that we created a guide, like self-study / like guided study, because we have a TA helping you. If you are someone that really likes circuit design, or this is something that's going to be like on your resume, or you want to add it, we are opening a research credit class for the fall. We have 4 left, right?
Yep.
4 spots left. So if you want, you can take research hours, take this course online on Carmen, go through the projects, not very large font, but there are designing the circuit, designing PCB, and then learning a microcontroller, ESP32 in specific, because it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on it, so it's easier, and it's 1 level above Arduino. So Arduino is not accepted. If you're thinking you're doing a project with Arduino, no, you're not. So we're trying to bring the level of knowledge higher, all right, so challenge you. If you are interested in this, so take credit to learn this in the fall. either let me know or Jonah send us an email. We have 4 spots available. If you don't want to take it as credit, you just want to learn, I will open this and offer this to all Capstone 1 student in the class, right? But like you learn, you did, we don't put pressure on you. But if it is a credit hour, we make sure to check your progress where you are. So it's gonna be half semester, right? 7 weeks. So the first 7 week of classes. So if you want that, let us know. So that was about the presentation, things that I thought I should add to what Bob, because Bob already, like I've sat through his presentation, is great. This is the, well, I have to stop sharing and share again. I never learned how to work with Zoom. So this is the same deliverable that we have. Program problem scoping, concept generation, solution first semester, second semester, you have your test and prototyping and final product. All right, follows the same thing. Now, if you have not followed us on Instagram, please do so. Like us and share. So this is the department of Capstone program. I run it. If you send request, I accept, but I don't follow because it's creepy. I'm your instructor, right? So if I didn't follow back, then it's not personal. I just don't want to follow into your life. I have my personal account. If you follow me, I'll follow you back in that one. So this is a couple of our projects, videos from a student, what they've done. We have subject matters experts. So we invite from Caterpillar, we invite from GE to come and give you some lesson that they know about, right? And then we also have our website on. So if you go undergraduate, then you go senior design, and you can see everything and I said in this website as well. So you can see our mentors under people. So once you become a cohort, your name will go with your project under that list. So it's kind of your e-profile as well. So you can address to this link if you want on your resume, or if you want someone to go check out your work, you're gonna have showcase. So once the projects are done, there's gonna be showcase of your work. So currently it's empty because we haven't done showcases April 25th. So once the student did the showcase, I'll put their project here. So you can have your friend, family, prospective employers to come and check you out. All right. So now any questions for me or how EC Capstone works? I hope I scared you enough. You be scared. Yes.
Just a quick question about the website. Do you have an archive of all the previous projects?
So good question. Is under construction. That's my summer job. So that's my homework. Yes. So I put them as the cohort. So like fall 22, and then this will be spring 22 of like the current project this semester. Once I'm done grading and everything, I'm gonna bring their projects. So yes, when you come, like check out in August, you see the projects. But in our Instagram page, I already put the projects. It's a lot easier to work with Instagram, right? So let's say that this is my favorite project. So they created a mask that mimics the lip. So you can still get that lip motion. So you can kind of guess what the person is saying if you didn't hear them, right? So I don't know if you know Michael or not, he graduated. Or we had, yeah, that's the same project. We had this one that they created like a, so that it gets tired. So it was like, we are using robotics, right? To help assistive robotics to help with worker manufacturing. So you'll see more updates on Instagram. Is a lot easier, more maintainable for me to do it right now. But yes, the website will be updated. So very, very busy. And designing website is a lot harder for a mechanical engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer. So it's like totally not in my skill sets. All right, more questions. Yes.
Okay, this might be like a silly question.
There's no silly questions. Yes, ask.
So the main difference between like the regular capstone and then the interdisciplinary capstone is really just like the scope of the project. Like one is a lot more of like an electrical, like an ECE focused project. And then the interdisciplinary project, the scope of that one is more interdisciplinary. And that's like the main selling point. with
Correct.
that too.
And they are more closer to real life projects because you cannot isolate and not have mechanical engineer, bio, science, like, I don't know, chemistry, like, business person. So we are removing that. We are focusing on EC a lot, and you get to do some of the non-EC jobs yourself. For them, then an expert is doing that. So you're 100% correct on that. Anything to add?
No, I think the other thing is, you'll get a very similar design experience, but it's just, we may have larger teams as well because they are multidisciplinary.
Yeah, we have
That's the
team
other
of
aspect.
4, because I think that's a golden number. After that, everybody start not working as much. It's like 5, 6, 7, yeah. Good question, that was not silly. Yes. More questions? That's your chance. You get to the course and tell me like, Dr. Z, we didn't expect this. I was like, I saw you in that capstone info session. No joking. Feel free to send me an email, ask Alyssa, she knows exactly what's going on. If you needed to come to the lab, visit the lab, say, I want to know what it is, where am I gonna live my whole life, like my whole year? Send me an email, reach out to Jonah. Can you stand up please so they can see you? Yeah, so he's our lead TA, until he takes capstone. Yes,
Because the time period of the capstone is consistent for both semesters,
right.
this is maybe more a question for you, but is there a way to get a sense of when courses are offered in the spring semester so we can plan ahead? Or no?
That's your for you.
Well, I wish, that would be awesome, but no, there isn't. No.
From my past experience, for multidisciplinary capstone, we meet Tuesday, Thursday, 9:35 to 10:55. Both in the autumn and the spring. I have not seen where ECE students have a time conflict.
You
with
guys
another
are
department.
usually okay, because most of our classes, as you know, run on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The Tuesday and Thursdays are set up for labs, so there shouldn't be conflict.
And we usually have 3,
Shouldn't
right?
be is the key,
So
right?
we have like
So-
1 in the morning, 1 around noon, and 1 3:55. So it
Yeah.
has been like 9:35, 12:40, and then 3:55 on Tuesday, Thursday. So you should not mess with your other courses, but lab time, I don't know.
The
like,
lab
Alyssa
times
would
are
be-
always, yeah, that's the conundrum. But we should be okay.
Yeah, I think like, I don't think we had